So I'm super excited because right now I am on my way. No, let me go back a little bit. So I've been recording another YouTube video for you for a while, but sometimes I'm just kind of like, I'm sick of talking about my journey and my experiences. I'm just sick of talking about myself sometimes. And so I'm excited today because I'm going to go and interview my friends, and they have a really cool story which I think will inspire a lot of people. It's a family of 4 and they live in a bus. They transitioned their whole life in order to live in a bus, and they're just such a lovely family. I don't really get the cluckiness when it comes to, you know, needing to have kids, but whenever I see their kids, my ovaries just like scream. Oh, they're so cute. So I'm really looking forward to meeting the kids. I've met Martha before and we've been talking on Instagram quite a bit. We connected through Instagram originally, and I'm excited to get to know them better and ask them a few questions about how they transitioned their life into the life that they lead now, and if they have any regrets, how hard it was, all this sort of stuff. So stick around. I think today this video is going to be really fun, and for once I don't have to talk about myself. Yay! So, I know that I talk about like living your truth and listening to your intuition on my channel a lot, and I just wanted to do more examples of people that have done that, because I feel like it's really interesting, and I can talk about it a lot, but it gets a little bit boring if I'm just talking about it by myself. So today we are going to be talking to some incredible people and an amazing family. What's your name?
Embla.
Embla and?
Alida.
Alida. Oh, wait, Embla and Alida. Yeah. And here we have...
I'm Mac.
And Jed.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
And they are living in a bus. So we're going to find out all about what it has taken to change your life completely and live this amazing lifestyle. Sounds good, girls? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what your life was like before you lived in a bus.
Where do you start? Because I feel like we've lived like 10 different lives already, and we've been married for a decade now, and I feel like, yeah, we lived in a troopy, traveling around in Australia, you know, and then Jed started working away, and we weren't just poor traveling backpackers anymore, so we started doing overseas travel more.
Yeah, we did a lot of overseas travel.
Yeah, and then we bought a house, or a unit. It wasn't a very flat house or anything, but we did that, I think, because we felt like that's what you need to do. Like, it wasn't really
I feel like we sort of railroaded. It started off as I was working in the mines because it channeled us, and we were able to make money, and then we were traveling overseas and we were doing all this cool stuff, and then it was just that progression of things getting a bit more serious, you know, talking of kids. So we bought the house, we had kids, and then all that money was just a means to get to the next
because
point,
that's what you
know?
do. It never felt like it worked well for us though. Like it never felt like, oh yeah, we made like, you know, you often talk to people like, oh, like, yeah, we just invested in property, and then, you know, that was like our house fund, and then like it just worked out for them. We were always kind of pushing shit uphill. I felt with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And anyway, when we had babies, we rented that out and moved to the country. Jed had wanted to get me out of the city, but my work had needed to be around my agent and stuff like that with the work I did before I had kids. And as soon as I had Elida, our first baby, I was like, I need to get out of the city. I need to be in nature. I need to be out in the countryside. And Jed wasn't going to wait for me to change my mind. So he was like, yep, okay, let's do it. And that day he was like, have a rental for us. Yeah, it was like meant to be. It was meant to be. And then
it was the best thing we did.
The best thing we ever did. And yeah, absolutely.
South. Yeah.
But I suppose then, without making this too long of a story, you know, Jed worked away, we had Elida, and then we had our second child, and all of a sudden, you know, we had an investment property, and we had a rental, and we had 2 babies, and Jed had to work away a lot for us to be able to kind of sustain that. And we found ourselves in a place that we didn't want to be. Like, all of our values were being compromised because we had to pay for stuff, you know, and we felt a bit owned by the system, you know, like we kept getting power bills over winter. It's really quite a cold place over winter where we were living, and they were just going up every winter, and it was just mind-blowing how used by the system you can be, you know. There was, you know, like just expenses that we kind of felt, we weren't living hand to mouth per se, but we felt owned by the system. And we thought, okay, well, maybe it's time that we invest in buying a little cottage, or, you know, investing in some property down here. And at that time that we chose to do that, the banks were going through some kind of national...
It was that shift, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big shift within the banks, and if you had investment property, it went from being a good thing to being a really bad thing. And so one day we were eligible for a certain amount of money, and we went out and had our pre-approval, and we looked at these places, and we found somewhere we wanted. And then the very next day they said, oh, you can only have $30,000 now. And I think that was like the major wake-up call for me, that I am actually living at the mercy of other people, at the mercy of the system, to the very core of like how we build our life, you know. And we had joked about living in a bus like a little bit before that. I remember going camping and we'd kind of just mentioned it, I suppose. And I think one day I kind of said, like, should we just maybe like leave everything behind and live completely differently, and you know, not have a mortgage, not have a power bill, not have stuff, not have anything, and just need less. Because then we will have the freedom that we were looking for, you know. And again, Jed was happy to jump on the train with me, and
yeah, for sure.
No.
And that would allow us to travel, which we love to do, to not have a mortgage, to be with our children every day at this, because that was another thing, you know. We've always been quite a tight family, and when you have kids you realize, you know, it might sound like a cliche, but you realize that they grow so fast, and you miss out on so much just by being away for a week. Like Jed had to be away for a week at a time. It was 2
weeks at the start.
For a
large portion of mining, it was 2 weeks at a time. So you get back and you have 1 week off, and in that week you want to catch up with your family. You want to be, you know, there as a dad, and then you want to see your mates. You know, you got house chores and you got all this stuff that you want to, or you need to get done, and plus want to do, and you don't get through any of it, and then you're like, I've got to go away for 2 weeks again, and then I'll come back and I'll try and catch up again, and you're just always catching up. You want to go for a surf, or, you know, do something for yourself, and yeah, just never. It was never. It's a pretty negative sort of cycle in life.
Yeah, and I suppose, like, if we were to sum it up, we wanted to break free. from the system, from the cycle, from, you know, we wanted freedom, and this has given us freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Was it scary jumping into the unknown? Did people try to discourage you or anything like that? Did people think you're crazy or?
They didn't tell us, but I think some people might have. We had a lot of support. I
feel like a lot of people supported us because it was something that they want to do, but they haven't ever been able to make that transition. So I really feel like that we got a lot of support. Not always, but like there was no one really saying you're doing the wrong thing.
No.
So
the only person who was a little bit concerned was your mum, but she had, you know, valid concerns. She was just, you know, saying, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about this?" But we really put a lot of thought and effort into it. And I remember being, you know, pregnant with Embla, sitting on the couch, sitting up late at night, researching, you know, because there wasn't that many motorhomes. There wasn't just Instagram families you could message and go, how did you do this? How did you do that? So we had to find blogs, and we had to look up, you know, how much water do you use in 1 minute of showering? And then do the maths on, like, can we actually carry enough water to, you know, would we have to be plugged into water all the time, or, you know, like,
whereas
all that
now
kind
it's
of
completely different. I don't know whether we're just in that community of people, but it feels like everyone's making these sort of transitions. But at that stage, we had 18 months of building the bus, and that was, you know, at that time when we were just researching, that was another 6 months before that. So it was 2 years before we even, you know, got the bus completed and actually went ourselves. So I feel like that was there wasn't many people doing that.
There wasn't anyone
in America.
to ask.
There was, you know, there'd been,
and we did contact a couple of people in America, I feel, and ask some questions. But I answer those kind of questions all the time now on my Instagram. Like, how does your solar work? I always palm that off to death.
How does it work again?
And it's like, you've asked me this 150 times. That's a bit overwhelming, so don't ask us that question. No, but, you know, like, what kind of toilet do you have, and how much water do you carry, and, you know, how did you set the kids up, and, you know, all of their concerns that I'm like, I had exactly the same concerns. And, you know, I love answering those kind of questions because I know where they're at. And I'm glad that they can just send an Instagram message to someone, because we set up, which was fun, and that's actually a fond memory of the journey, is the nights that we set up and made floor plans and thought of, is this really possible? Could we do this? You know, could we be off grid in a home on wheels? You know,
that was at that time when we were trying to buy that house, wasn't it? We put in an offer on the house, so it was really like a crossroad for us.
Yeah.
And they rejected our offer. We didn't get the house, and then that was just full commitment to bus life. It was like, all right, this isn't panning out for us. Let's go this other road.
Yeah, we decided to listen to, like, you know.
And they came back to us like 2 weeks or a month later and said, "Oh, we'll take that offer." And we're like, "No, we're done. We're out."
Wow.
Yeah, we hadn't even bought the bus yet, but it was just. It's kind of funny because looking back at it, actually, we kind of went, okay, we're going to listen to, like, faith, I suppose. Like, do we get the house? Okay, we take the house. If not, we're doing bus life. Like, that's two very different things. And then we did, and then they turned around and went, no, you can have the house. Please take the house. No one else wants it. And then we were done. We decided. I'm so glad we didn't, you know, flip on that decision.
When you were at the crossroads, thinking about the two options, which one made you feel more excited?
Bus life.
Yeah, for sure. I've always travelled. Since I was 18, 19, I've travelled. So, for me, as soon as, you know, but when you become a dad and you know, part of a family, you think, this is what I have to do. I've got to, you know, while the kids are young, I've got to support, I've got to make the money, I've got to, you know, support these people, you know, like the people that I love, I want to support them. But to step out of that was the scariest thing. I wanted to travel. I was like, yes, I want to do this. But then it's like, oh, okay, I'm breaking that mold of, you know, supporting. But it's just a mindset, really.
So what do you think is different? What do you think changed, and how did you manage to get over that indoctrination?
And we bought the bus.
We just kept on going. Yeah, we went past the fears, I suppose. We just kept
well,
on going.
they kept on coming up, you know, but
Jed got offered a promotion, basically, like.
People at work, actually, people, going back to your other question, people at work, those people that are working on the mines, they were like, what are you doing? What other job are you quitting? What other job are you going to? And like, I'm not going to another job, I'm going to go travel. So they were the people that were most bewildered by the decision. But yeah, I don't know, like that, yeah, we just bought the bus and that was locked in. Then I was working on it and we just had to keep going.
So how do you support the family and this lifestyle now?
Oh, yeah,
That's a good question. We actually sold pretty much everything we owned. We sold 2 cars, we sold a house, we sold pretty much all of our possessions. So we had a fair bit of savings that we left with, and we thought that they would probably last us about a year. We
saved up. I was still working on the mines, and we did this.
Yeah, we saved. Like we moved into a shed.
Yeah, we moved into
a
little shack, and we did this up on a budget. We didn't get ahead of ourselves and go, no, we've got money that we can just put on the bus. We really stayed focused on, this is how much we've got for the bus, and this is how much we want to get on the road with. So
yeah,
we had a travel fund that we took off with, and
yeah, because like the whole like pushing shit uphill, I feel like after deciding to buy the bus, as much as fears came up and we had to work through them and work past them, I suppose, things started unfolding for us for the first time ever, I felt, in a way that was like, wow, that is so lucky. Oh wow, how did we get this lucky, you know? And just opportunities and money started coming into our life, and it's kind of that whole I've become really, really interested in you know, how we manifest abundance consciously, how you consciously create a life that is abundant. And that's what we were doing, even though we didn't know that that's what we were doing at that time in our life. That's what we were doing. And so things have gone really well for us. Like old shares that we had have done really well, you know, like just things have worked out for us. And it's not, I don't want it to sound like woo-woo or magic, but we made some really conscious decisions to create a life that is according to our values, which in itself is a really abundant position to be in. And then you start practicing gratitude. You're like, wow, you know, like there's not many nights that we go to bed that we don't look at each other and go, can you believe that we're living this life? Like, I am so grateful for this, you know, I'm so grateful for this house. And, you know, like we often say, oh, I love our house, you know, just consciously being grateful for things. And that has also manifested in money. So we had good savings that we left with, but we've been lucky as well. And I've been building a business.
There's been dividends on shares, and selling it, like that's part of it. We didn't, you know, minimalize those. We sort of had those as security, and you know, they've provided for us.
We thought about our financial situation when we left, and we didn't want to go, okay, we're taking all our money and we're leaving. You know, we wanted to have a little future fund. We wanted to have a travel fund, and it's just allowed us to kind of let things flow. And when you let things flow, they flow back. Like,
But I mean, now you're working. You're like you've launched your business, so that's generating income.
Exactly. And that's another part of it. This lifestyle and this choice allowed me the space to build a conscious business, a business that I'm passionate about. It allowed me to do a certification that I wanted to do. It allowed me the space to build that business and that space. And Jed's like now officially a stay-at-home dad, which is really funny because when we started dating, he always used to say, I'd love to be a stay-at-home dad one day, just, you know, be at home, like surf in the mornings, just be with the kids. And I'm like, here you go, here's your chance.
I didn't realise.
Staying at home as a parent is like, that doesn't change. That's still hard work. But we're so grateful for that too, because we get to be with our girls to the extent that we're watching them grow by the millimeter. You know, we're watching every new skill, we're watching every new chapter of their existence unfold right before our eyes, and it's like such a
I don't come back now and say like, oh, shot up in that week, or you know, or
I didn't know you
Embla's
knew how
saying
to
these
do
words,
that. Yeah.
or you know, it's just in front of me there every day, so I don't even notice that they're getting so much bigger. We look back on photos from when we started this journey, and they've grown
Embla had
so
to stand
much.
on the ledge.
Yeah, she
to
actually
reach
couldn't
up to
see
the
over
window,
the window.
and you know, like it's
Yeah.
just. Yeah, we have a little. We nudge it in.
Yeah,
on the side
every
of the
now and
fridge,
again we
like growing.
do the growth chart.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like I feel like we're creating a really solid family unit, and I would want nothing more in life, you know, after becoming a parent, after becoming a mother, to hold that space for my children. Yeah.
And do you want to show me the bathroom as well? Yeah? Whee! Going backwards, 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 backwards. Beautiful.
Now, if you want, you can put the bus tour connected to the other bus.
You want to see the camera? Yeah. Do you want to film your sister?
Okay, I'll film my little.
Yeah.
Should I hold the crown, you do the bus tour?
I do the bus tour. I don't think I can do the bus tour because you live here.
But you can if you want.
Yeah, I think you did a beautiful job actually. High five. Yeah, high five.
I didn't do it either.
You did it, but I want a high five anyway. Yeah!
Should I do another high five?
Another high five? Yes! Nice work.
Guess we go on another high five.
Another high five? Adventure? I don't know. Let's talk to Mama and Papa and see what they say. Yeah? What's been the hardest part of this whole process and coming to this stage?
Changing the bedding. No.
No.
I know. I'm just making a joke.
Changing the bedding,
As in-
I can relate.
Tiny homes and changing the bedding is like no. In the process, definitely the build, the conversion was like it was probably the hardest part of my entire life. I think you know that Jed working away, becoming a mum of two, which is like a major transition because you all of a sudden you have a little family. You're not just, you know, one-on-one with a child. You have your second child, and it's a huge transition that we didn't plan for. You know, like we planned for having her, but not the postpartum period, and the fact that that was going to be such a huge transition. And Jed having to still work away, and then the commitment to the bus and building the bus. And
We started off doing like, or when I was back, I'd do maybe 2 or 3 days a week, and then I'd have the rest of that week before I went back to spend with the family. But we soon realised that the bus wasn't going to happen too quick if we kept on going down that road. So quickly that went to pretty much 6 days out of the 7 I was back, I was working. So near on I was working. I almost worked and then on the bus for 6 months straight. And it got yeah, we definitely had a roller coaster of emotions. You know, it was hard for both of us.
Yeah, being like a solo parent, working 24 hours or like, you know, 7 days a week at least for like every week.
Yeah, that was a tough year.
It was.
There was sickness as well. You know,
probably as a result of us never taking care of ourselves because we were too busy.
Not to talk it down, but yeah, it was tough. That was a tough period, but.
Yeah.
We constantly were saying to each other, like, when we get there, you know, that's when we're going to, you know, reap the rewards of this. So we are now. And
look, someone said to me the other day, the amount of resistance that you're experiencing is the amount of, like, reward and prosperity, I suppose, that you will achieve on the other side. And that was the hardest thing that I've ever done. But this life is the best life I've ever lived. Like it is beyond anything I could have ever imagined. If you told me that one day you'll have 2 beautiful healthy kids and you'll have no mortgage and no power bill, and most of the time we have like 180-degree ocean views if we want to, or like, and you'll be 2 stay-at-home parents. You won't be going to work every day to work for someone else. You work for yourself. Like all the things that I could have ever dreamt of, like we've fulfilled those, and I feel like we live the richest life that we could ever have created for ourselves. Like, but we did it in a different way, I suppose. We didn't wait till we won the lottery or...
No.
Yeah. And do you have any regrets at all?
Saying that was really difficult. I maybe would have built a bit more of a community around us and the project if I was to change anything, but no, I would never I would never have changed anything. It was hard work to get to the stage where we had a finished bus and we were able to go traveling.
Any regrets we had on the bus of not doing something is now getting changed as we go.
Yeah,
so.
like practical things.
Yeah.
The bus, like, changing the stovetop and things like that.
Yeah, the stovetop, there's a bath in there now, there's instantaneous hot water system. All these things are just getting...
That is definitely a learning curve to build a house from scratch and think...
Yeah.
And with the research that we had as well, like we couldn't just ask people about their experience. We had to kind of go with what we thought would work best.
And we were on a
for
budget.
us.
We did the budget, so we had the savings to travel. We didn't want to get on the road and then be like, all right, someone's got to work. Who's working? We wanted to actually spend a year where we could just travel and see where we ended up.
Yeah.
So,
What does living your truth mean for you?
Do you want to start or?
there you go.
That's a big question. I think, gosh, I don't even know where to start on that. Living my truth. Being able to have the space to listen to myself. Being able to have the space and the freedom, I suppose, and the time that it takes to have that space to make the decisions that you make. Acting on your intuition, like we spoke about before, that's living your truth to me. We live in such a busy society. We have to get up in the morning, go to work, come home, or pick up kids, make dinner, put them to bed. Like we never have time to stop and listen to ourselves. And I think living my truth is when I'm able to have that time and space to sit in stillness and listen to myself, but also evolve with whatever comes up. Like we have changed so much on this course that we've had since we left almost a year and a half ago now. And that's because I feel like now we're living our truth. We have the time to look at what's not working in relationships, between us and the kids, and grow and evolve. And I suppose that's...
I guess it means happiness, doesn't it? I mean, living in truth. I've always travelled, and that's when I've been the happiest. And now we're doing that as a family, and we're not just conforming to whatever we thought we needed to do. And now this is true happiness.
We're listening to what makes us happy from in here, and not from the TV or you get kind of fake
societal norms. What people
norms,
think. The biggest car, the biggest house. That's.
Yeah, and I think you kind of get like fake signals of what would make you happy when you're in a really busy kind of society, because you think, oh, it'd make me really happy to have a car because then I don't have to take the train to get to work. But is that truly what would change your life? If you sat down with yourself or had the time to actually care for yourself, is that truly what you want to change? Or is it your job? Or is it, and I think, having the space and time to constantly evolve and listen to ourselves, I suppose, our intuition, our gut. where we're being guided.
What advice would you have for other people who might be thinking about wanting to change their lives but are too scared to?
Look at what's frightening you, I suppose. What's stopping you from doing it? Is the idea of what you want to do, is it other people's perception of that, or is it your perception of that that's scaring you? Because often it's other people's perception of, like, you want to quit your job and travel, like, you can't do that. How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? But is that your fears, or is it other people's fears, I suppose? That's one piece of advice I have.
There's an element of just being brave and taking the plunge.
Yeah.
You've got to, you know, there's definitely a safe road, and then there's the other side, you know. And I guess there's fears involved in that, and what do they say? The other side of fears is there's greatness. So, you know, like, you're never going to know if you don't take that plunge, and then there will be regrets. So what have you got to lose, you know?
Yeah,
I guess that's what you got to, what you got to weigh up is what do you have to lose? How much do you want it? And yeah, and if it's just other people, or, you know, what other people think that's holding you back, then go for it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. Don't let anyone else's narrative or, you know, idea of you hold you back from fulfilling your own idea of yourself. And also, it's okay to change. Like, it's so okay to change. Like, if you're like a corporate, you know, like, hard-working person, you've spent your whole life getting an education, and you really, you know, get to the job that you were always thinking you were destined to have, and then you really don't enjoy it, and you just want to throw it all in. That's okay. It's okay, right?
We wouldn't be doing this now if it didn't gel with us. If we got on the road and it was a lot of hard work and we weren't having a good time, we wouldn't just stay in it just to prove a point. Or,
no, I think we've grown past that stage, and I have been through that, actually, because I chose a career that I stayed in for 10 years thinking that I needed to prove something, and I don't even know if it was to myself or to other people. But the day that I let go of that, my life changed, you know. We had babies, and that led us to where we are today. So, you know, yeah, it's okay to change, and don't let other people's kind of idea of you hold you back from doing that, you know, from being who you are meant to be.
Nice. There you have it, Mac and Jed, and they're two beautiful girls that just make my ovaries scream. And their incredible lifestyle. There's so many people living alternative lifestyles who have, you know, gotten out of the system that kind of enslaves us into a life that we don't really want to live in the first place. And these are the type of people that I'm really inspired by. This is the type of lifestyle that I've chosen for myself as well. And I see a lot of unhappiness in the world from people just feeling like that's the only way that there is to live life. And that's why I feel it's really important to bring these stories up to inspire you and others to think outside of the box, think about different possibilities out there. So let me know what you thought about this video. Would you like to see more interviews with people who are living outside the box, who are doing different things and kind of following their own path? If so, please let me know in the comment section below. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos like this and me talking about my journey and all sorts of things. I have so many different ideas that I'm looking forward to bringing to you. So make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. There's a juicy one coming up, so hang tight. See you soon.